The year is 211 AD, and I, Patrick Kielty, I'm delighted to say I've been granted an audience with the Starius Maximus of Gladiator II, the biggest movie on the planet right now. We also couldn't be more excited that he's come home to see us before he takes over Hollywood and the world, especially as he's now the only Irishman to have ever run up the tunnel at St. Conleth's Park in Newbridge and the Colosseum in Rome. Would you please welcome home Paul Mescal?
Yes, you too. Wow.
Welcome home.
Thanks very much.
First things first, who's tougher to beat, the Romans or the Dubs?
I mean, I'd love to say the Romans, but it's probably the Dubs as a Kildare man, unfortunately.
Probably the Dubs.
Yeah.
Huge congratulations on this. I mean, the film is amazing. Yeah. Your performance as Lucius, it is phenomenal. You must be delighted with how this has gone.
Just like, yeah, incredibly proud of the film. And now that we're starting to see an audience response, it's just a big old sigh of relief. Yeah.
So there is that. Is there a bit of relief in the whole thing too?
I mean, this is for sure the biggest film that I've done. And of course you feel a sense of relief with everything once you feel it respond with an audience, but there's something different about, you assume, the amount of eyeballs that are going to be on this versus anything else that I've ever done. So there's a big old exhale.
I mean, everybody loves this. I mean, everybody loves you, and people are saying it's the greatest performance by an Irishman in a skirt since Mrs. Brown's Boys. So
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Believe you me. So, what's it like bringing this movie home and sharing it with people in Ireland?
I mean, the last time I was chatting to you was with Andrew for All of Us Strangers, and we'd just done the premiere in the Lighthouse, and we spoke about how special that was, and this is no different. It's just a really special moment, because you're always thinking about how people at home receive the work, and this is just massive.
And that's the thing, isn't it? Because it doesn't really matter how it works around the world. When you come home, you kind of,
Well, we're the toughest critics of ourselves, thankfully. Yeah. So you know exactly where it lands when you take it back home to Ireland, for sure.
I don't want to be giving away any spoilers.
Please don't.
What can you tell us about this movie?
Yeah, so it follows about 20 years on from the first one. I play the little fella from the first one. His name's Lucius, and he discovers that he's the son of Maximus. But it's just a film on a scale that is so huge, but it's directed by Ridley Scott, who directed the first film, and it's got the same soul, and I'd say the same DNA as the first film.
We got a little clip here. Here is Paul doing his stuff, Gladiator II.
I'm not a general, but we are all soldiers. And up until now, we have fought for nothing more than another day's survival.
What will you have us do?
Well, you can return to your cells if you do not wish to fight this battle. Or you can join me and fight for a freedom far beyond these walls.
There once was a time when honor meant something in Rome. In this Rome, I no longer believe that exists. We must find it. And know this: where death is, we are not. Where we are, death is not.
By my sword.
Strength and honor!
I haven't seen that since I first saw the film.
No way.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's mad, yeah.
It's so good. It's the biggest movie in the world at the minute. Is it true you didn't even have to audition for this?
It is true that I didn't have to audition for it, but I think it's, again, to tie like Ridley can ask for whatever he wants, and he generally gets it. So thankfully I didn't have to go through. I thought we'd have to do camera tests or things like that, but he's very instinctive, and he just did a Zoom with him for half an hour. Because I hadn't read a script at this point, so it's just 10 minutes of the outline of of the film. And then he talked about Gaelic football and his dogs and his wife, and that was it.
And that was it?
Yeah.
Amazing. And I heard somewhere that the nose also helped you get the part.
This nose caused me such hassle in secondary school. Like, this was the bane of my life. And then, well, thank God for whatever genetics have granted me this this nose, yeah.
But it is, you got that noble, you got the Roman nose.
Yeah, it's there for sure, yeah.
And Ridley also said that you reminded him of another legendary Irish actor.
Yeah.
Richard Harris.
Oh, Richard Harris.
Sorry,
yeah,
Richard Harris.
Yeah. I remember we were shooting one day, like, there's a scene in it where I'm, like, wading out into the water, and he directs kind of generally over the radio because he's watching it all on 8 screens. And the radio was left open, and as I was walking out, he goes, "Fuck me, he looks like Richard Harris." So, like, yeah, it also makes sense because he plays, obviously, Marcus Aurelius in the first film.
In the first one. I mean, we have there he is there. So,
there he is.
It's,
good man, Richard.
Good man, Richard. I mean, I think we've got both of you together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah?
Yeah.
There you go. That's Richard Harris on the phone going, "Ridley, I think I found the guy you need to book for the next one."
I've got your boy, yeah.
We got to talk training.
Yeah.
You did a lot of training for this. On a scale of 1 to the Kildare Miners, where was this?
Kildare minor training's pretty brutal. You know, it's there was more running for the GAA. There was more lifting of heavy things for this, I would say. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Pedro Pascal said that you went from being Sausage Paul
Sausage ball.
to Brick Wall Paul.
Yeah.
I think
I much prefer that one, to be honest. Sausage Paul. If I never hear that sentence again, I'll be a happy man. But yeah.
I think Brick Wall was probably the polite version of what he actually said.
He did me fairly well there, I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah.
He. I think you can see on my face that that's like probably the 5th or 6th time that we did it, so I know exactly what's coming.
Is there going to be a third one?
I hope. Ridley seems to be chatting about it, so I think that he has some sort of very, very early blueprint. But I think it's all like, we'll see how this lands, and he's always got about 4 or 5 films bubbling away in his mind. So, but if it was ready to go, I'd absolutely jump at it. Yeah.
He first saw you in Normal People.
Which is mad to me. Can you imagine Ridley Scott watching Normal People?
Amazing. It's so good.
No, it's, yeah.
It's so good. Are you ready for your life not being able to be anyway normal again after this?
I mean, I think it's always magnified at moments like this when you're out in front of the film and you're running around to every city in the world. And I think it's always at its loudest around this junction. But then I think maybe naive of me to think that, but you'd hope that the world moves on and there's another massive film that comes out and there's eyes on somebody else. And I think at the moment I'm saying that to probably preserve my own sanity, but also it's a byproduct of this amazing job that I get to do. So if that's the tax, I'll happily pay it. Up until a point.
Up until a point. Yeah. We were just talking beforehand, so your schedule, you were in Australia.
Yeah.
Then a couple of days ago you were in
Tokyo.
And we're
back here.
Doing a bit of karaoke.
Doing a bit of karaoke, you know yourself, when in Rome. Very good. Yeah. Oh, I hate myself. Yeah.
You're also setting a few new fashion trends here in Ireland as well.
Right.
You're always a very stylish man.
Thanks.
The leather skirt. Everybody in Ireland now. All men are now looking for the leather skirt.
The shorts are done. Get the leather skirt. Yeah.
That's it.
Ready to go.
So look, can you give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Who wore it best here? So what do we think?
He looks fantastic. That's a thumbs up. Roy Keane, anything.
That's a thumbs up?
Yeah.
Does Roy wear it better than our next one? What do we think?
I think, love Daniel, but I think Roy Keane rocks it a little bit better.
I'm now just imagining Roy in the tunnel in Rome.
Oh, he'd be perfect.
Wouldn't he?
He's exactly who you would have in the middle, like, centre of your mind if you were going into battle.
Just go out there and do your job.
Just go out there and do your job. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You were in Graham Norton a few weeks ago with your friend Saoirse,
yes.
Saoirse Ronan, and you inadvertently teed her up to give an important message about women and how they look after each other.
Yeah.
Were you guys surprised about how that?
No, I don't think
up?
we were surprised, because you're, like, as you said, you're on a talk show like this and you're kind of just talking, but I'm not surprised that the message received as much attention that it got, because it's a massively important, and I'm sure you've had Saoirse on the show, like, she's
Amazing.
quite often, if more often than not, the most intelligent person in the room, and I think she was spot on, hit the nail on the head. And it's also good that like messages like that are kind of gaining traction. Like, that's a conversation that we should absolutely be having on a daily basis.
The last time you were home, your mum and dad came to the show when all of this...
They're always in here.
They're always in. Whenever this juggernaut is over, are you going to get to spend a bit of time with the family, or what's next?
Well, I'll see them over the next few weeks, and then we'll go our separate ways, which we're kind of getting used to, and then we'll reconvene around Christmas. Yeah, it's a weird thing. I think for parents, as much as this is alarming for me, at least I have some degree of control over it, but I think for parents to watch from afar, I have to kind of remind myself to kind of remind them that I'm all right, you know.
Paul, I am glad you took a wee stop on the journey to come and see us here today. Come back and see us anytime. You are sensational in this, and I wish you all the very best. Give it up one more time for Paul Mescal.
Thank you very much.
Gladiator II is in cinemas nationwide from today.